The meeting of the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Fretham,
Here.
Matas Castillo,
Here.
McDonough,
Here.
McGuire,
Here.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Here.
Carter.
Here. Thank you very much. Commissioner Matas Castillo, would you please say the Pledge of Allegiance for us while we all mute?
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very, very much. So on this momentous election day 2020, we have an agenda presented before you for your approval.
Move approval.
So moved. Second.
Thank you for the motion and second. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Matas Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. The agenda is passed, and the minutes of our last meeting, October 27th, are before you now.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and second. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Matas Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. The minutes have passed, and we have the opportunity this morning to express our appreciation in two areas of our work, which could not be done without those in our community who assist us. And I'd like to call first on Commissioner McGuire for a first proclamation. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is indeed my honor and privilege to present this proclamation on childcare. We know that childcare is one of the most important things that people can provide to children who need that and to families who need that. And our childcare providers are just some of our most amazing people. I'm sorry we're not able to be at an event with them because we usually go to a dinner that celebrates all of them and recognizes all of their great work. But in lieu of that, I'm excited and honored to present this proclamation on behalf of the entire board. And here, and I will begin.
Commissioner McGuire, before you start, I'm going to invite our child care providers and staff up to the podium quickly, please.
Thank you.
Brian's flying solo today. We have Brian Thine here, and he will be accepting the award on behalf of the group. Take it away. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Whereas children are one of our greatest resources and strengths, and whereas Ramsey County is committed to the nurturing of children, and whereas licensed family child care providers provide a safe and healthy environment that fosters the physical, intellectual, emotional, and social development of children. And whereas licensed family child care providers play a key role in supporting other essential industries during the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas nearly 400 licensed family child care providers care for 4,000 children in Ramsey County, and whereas October 2020 marks the 43rd year of Ramsey County recognizing child care providers and their important work, and whereas 68 licensed family child care providers will be honored this year for their service milestones. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of the residents of Ramsey County, declares November 3rd, 2020 as Licensed Family Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do virtual hand clapping. Thank you so much. Thank you, County Manager, for presenting the proclamation. As I said, generally we'd be able to be in person to honor all of these families, and we just so appreciate that and hope that you will convey all of our thanks and gratitude to the child care providers that you work with.
I certainly will, Commissioner McGuire. I'm also really touched. Being able to even have this event during this time of the pandemic is really important. As you mentioned, 43 years of celebrations is hard to go without this year, and people were missing the event. But our foster care team took out these proclamations to our providers who had these years of service and delivered them to their home. And it was a beautiful exchange. There were kids all surrounding their daycare providers and hanging at their feet and hands. And so you can see that there's a lot of love that happens in these homes. They're very proud to receive this recognition. In fact, one of our other social work staff was on Twitter and saw that one of the daycare providers actually posted their picture and their proclamation on Twitter. They were so touched that during this time period that you guys would recognize them. So thank you for all the support. It's really a lovely honor to receive this.
And Brian, before you go, Janet's going to get a photo of you.
Oh, okay.
Smile hard.
I should have worn my Halloween mask with those big teeth. Oh, that'd be great. I'm here alone, so thank you.
Thank you so very much. I know that there are hand claps, and we are really very, very thankful and just celebrating the opportunity to recognize our providers who do this work for us. I know I've been there, and all of us have been there when they've been honored at the annual celebrations, and there have been providers who have celebrated 45
Correct,
plus
yeah.
years of doing this work.
Yes.
And I just wonder this year, I think we celebrate on every 5 years. We
Yes,
recognize
yep.
them every 5 years. So we have 68 who are being congratulated and recognized this year. Can you tell us what the longest amount of service we're celebrating this year might be?
We do have a person at 45, but we have 4 people actually over 40. Wow. So
wow, that is so tremendous.
Yes,
to
it
do
is.
this work, to have a heart of gold, and to take care of our children
Right.
and
It's
our
a
families
career.
in this way. Thank you so much to all our staff for the work that is done in recognition or in support of these. I'm looking to see, I have a number of hands that are up. I'm going to call on Commissioner Fretham.
Thank you, Chair Carter. I just wanted to echo my gratitude for family child care providers. I think often they are underestimated in the work that they do. They are small business owners. They are early childhood educators. They provide healthy and safe environments, and they are drivers of our workforce. Without my family child care provider, I would probably have an almost 5-year-old playing with my hair and asking me for iPad help right now. So I am so grateful for all of our family child care providers. They are a critical part of our economy and our education system, and they should be so proud of the work that they're doing. And special thanks to my family child care provider, Danielle, who has cared for my little one for 3 years now, and who cared for my older daughter during the time when I wasn't working for a child care program. So she has been a part of our lives for a very long time, and the love that she shares for my children and the efforts she goes to make sure they are safe and healthy and educated are so appreciated. I couldn't do anything that I do without her as a partner in our lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Fretham. I'll call on Commissioner Castillo next.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to all of our care providers. As a mom who's been home for the last 9 months without childcare, I have a super appreciation of our childcare providers caring for not only their own children, but other people's children. And so really just a tremendous amount of gratitude. But I also want to say thank you to you, Brian. Every time we talk about kids and our future in Ramsey County, we get to see you in the chambers. And so I don't want it to go unnoticed that you are you're not just an employee for Ramsey County that does this work, but I know you give your whole self and your whole heart. And so I just want to also recognize you and the work that you do to make all of this happen, and that you care so much for our kids in Ramsey County.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a
Well
wonderful
said.
job.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just saying it's a wonderful job, and having support also from leadership that recognizes the work that we're doing and how we're supporting families and children is what makes it also like a nice team here. It's one Ramsey County, and so I'm proud to be a part of that. And I'm proud of the staff who can't be here today, and also of, like you say, all the providers and what they do for our community. So it makes the work a joy.
Indeed. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I also just want to say how much fun it is to go to that event, and how much I know we all miss being there in person, but we do what we need to do to take care of those that we love. Yeah. Anyhow, when I go to that, one of the things, I mean, there's 68 that are being honored. We have, maybe Brian could say how many licensed child care providers we have. But what is so amazing to me about that event, and I'm glad that we were able to hear a little bit about, things being posted on Twitter and stuff, is the room is simply filled with love. And so I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Ortega.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say again, like everybody else, miss the events are always fun events, but I have a couple of friends that are in the child care business and are licensed by Ramsey County, and I visited child care providers just to go and look and see at the activities. And I got to tell you, it's a lot of work. It's hard work, and we forget. I know when my two kids went to child care, that was one thing. But then when you have 10 or 12 or 15 kids at one time, they're miracle workers as far as I'm concerned. So I just want to say congratulations to everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you very, very much once again from all of us. We so appreciate your being here to represent this day and the recognition of our child care providers. And we also very much appreciate all of the work that is done by you and others in Ramsey County to uphold and to support this important area of our work. So thank you very, very much. And please say hello and thank you to all our providers.
I shall. Thank you.
Have a great day. And next, I am going to call Commissioner Ortega for the next recognition. Commissioner Ortega.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I will read a proclamation for the foster care families. And again, many of us have attended their events and spoken at their events, and they do a tremendous job because they take care of those kids that are, that have come from families that are unable to take care of some of our most vulnerable kids. So I'm really appreciative of all the work they do.
Commissioner, let's check and see if we have someone at the front.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, that's quite all right.
Come forward. I meant
Thank you.
to say that right off the bat. It is different up there.
We're good to go.
We'll turn.
Good
Okay.
enough. Thank you so much, guys, for attending. As I would say, many of us have attended the annual events and spoken at events for foster care, and the work you do is tremendous. And I'd like to read this proclamation from the board in your honor. Whereas Ramsey County foster families open their homes and hearts to our most vulnerable adults and children in need, and whereas foster families not only provide shelter and food, but also safety and healthy environments that promote the physical, intellectual, emotional, and social development of adults and children. And whereas in Ramsey County, there are 470 licensed child foster care providers caring for 873 children and 103 licensed adult foster care homes caring for 290 vulnerable adults. Whereas foster care providers often face a difficult yet rewarding job, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. The children and adults they help are often scared, depressed, or have a hard time trusting others. Foster families need wisdom, patience, and humor to ensure the children and adults they help feel safe and loved. And whereas the need for loving foster care providers is as great as ever in Ramsey County and throughout the nation, and proclaim the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners on behalf of county residents, thank the many dedicated people who provide loving and supportive foster care homes, and be it further proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares November 3rd, 2020 as Foster Care Provider Appreciation Day in Ramsey County. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ortega. And we'll check in on the chambers and see if we can find out who's here with us. And perhaps they can introduce themselves, tell us whether they do adult or child foster care and how long.
Yeah.
Having a little trouble hearing.
We're getting a photo.
Great. Thank you.
Would anyone like to say a few words?
Oh, yeah, I think I will. Okay.
Please.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Linda Hollins, and I was thrust into the foster care program. I did not understand it. It was something I needed to do and something I had to do. My life had totally changed. I have a little kid. What I can say? I thought I knew what it was to be a parent. I knew what it was to be a grandparent. But when I became a foster parent, I was like, whoa, this is all new. Because of the experience I got from a mother and from a grandmother made me know how to adjust myself to be more firm with him, to help him. And the biggest thing I tell him, because I'm retired, I say, my job is to help you become a decent and respectable man. And we're working on that. And there's so many that has helped me. She's been through my worstest times. And then I have the Kingship organization that I'm with, and they meet with us and help me through that. Retired, and now I have a job now I got this job of foster parenting.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak?
Thank
Do I leave this on?
You can
It's up
take it
to you.
off.
All right. My name is Dennis Morgan, and I've been doing foster care for, I don't know for sure because I think they've lost some records. But I had two clients for the last 30 years, and one for 25 and the other one now for 13. And I specialize mostly in Down syndrome. And I have a special needs guy, the other one, who is a gifted man with computers. So he helps me stay licensed. And I'm glad to have Jim Kiefer here. He's comes to our support group, and that group is a good group. I'm glad to be here for them. Thank you for having me.
you. And will the others share as well? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just share that it is a combined foster care here. So as you see today, that Dennis represents our adult foster care providers, and then that we had Linda here from our child foster care. So kind of a new person, and then person that's been with foster care for a long time. So again, another nice example about our community standing up for our most vulnerable, for our kids in the system that need to have love and caring in a safe home, while their parents work on trying to get reunified and bring our families back together. And then for people who who need the extra support and need a safe home. And as an adult, people like Dennis who stand up 30 years in a business, opening his home and actually creating a family feel, a home for people with Down syndrome or other disabilities, and making it be a safe place for them as well. So another really rewarding kind of business that we're in. And thank you for for acknowledging foster care today.
Thank you very much, Brian. I wonder if we can also recognize the others, staff who are here, if they can share their names and area.
Would everyone be willing to come up and introduce yourself?
I see a number.
Good morning, I'm Tally Jordan. I'm one of the supervisors for the Children's Foster Care Unit.
Good morning, I'm Barbara Cannon. I'm one of the licensing social workers in child foster care. Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jim Kepfer. I'm an adult foster care licensor. Been with Ramsey County approaching 30 years now. And I just want to say, since 1976, I've worked in healthcare, and I've worked with physicians, psychiatrists, psychologists, nurses, social workers, government agencies, and I've never seen a more dedicated and willing to sacrifice group than foster care providers. It's been an inspiration my last 10 years with licensing. Thank you.
That is our group today, Madam Chair.
Thank you so very, very much. Again, it is wonderful to have you here, and we are only missing the opportunity to see you in person, but wanting to make certain that we are able to give you our thanks and show appreciation for the great work that you do for us. I'm going to call on Commissioner Matis Castillo, who's had her hand up for a little while. Commissioner.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Really, truly thank you. There's a special glow over the county courthouse today with you all in it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Reinhardt.
And I also wanted to send love and appreciation to folks that are truly caring for the most vulnerable in our communities. And so just a huge thank you.
Once again, we can't say thank you enough. We miss being with you. We just entirely appreciate, and I had said, the work that you do. We know that it's far more than work for you. It's a life that you've chosen in service to others, and we thank you so very, very much. We hope that you will have a wonderful rest of your day, and please know that we are celebrating you in this moment and continually as you go on throughout your day. Have a wonderful one. So, once again, big thank you for this core area of our work. As is typical, I'm going to call on the County Manager, Ryan O'Connor, for our COVID update. Thank you, Commissioner, or County Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, good morning. I'm going to turn it over to our Deputy County Manager of the Health and Wellness Service Team, Kathy Hadeen, and I'll let her open by explaining a little bit more about the continuity planning that has taken place in public health to ensure that we have seamless service delivery response during the pandemic as she dives into her update, and then we'll come back for a few final things from me.
Thank you, County Manager O'Connor, and good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Today's day 2, officially, of being Deputy County Manager for Health and Wellness. I'm excited to be in this role. I will also be continuing in the role of the Public Health Director through this winter. As you'll hear, our COVID rates continue to go up. It's a very serious time. It's going to be a very difficult time, I think, to get through this winter and to provide kind of continuous leadership through the department. We all felt as a department leadership team within public health that this was the right direction to go for now. We have great leaders in place. I have asked Manager Laura Anderson to step into the Public Health Incident Commander role, and so we will be transitioning that soon. And I've also asked our administrative manager, Diane Holmgren, to step in as a deputy public health director to help me through this process to ensure that the public health department has what it needs, especially as we go into a budget year. So we are all doing well. We'll continue to be strong and move forward together, and I'm happy to be able to play both roles with the help of a lot of people to get through this. So thank you, and we will move on to our COVID situation update. We will move over to the dashboard as we go through the stats. In Minnesota, you will see that 153,620 people have tested positive for COVID-19. That's almost 30,000 additional people in the last 2 weeks. And my last report to you, we had increased by 20,000. So that can show you just how fast this is spreading across our state. There continues to be a record number of people testing positive across the state, with multiple days in the last week with daily cases of pretty close to 3,000 or higher. This is very serious, and we need to make sure that we're doing what we can to slow this spread. Total cases requiring hospitalization to date in Minnesota is 10,437, with 2,729 in the ICU up to date. Those two numbers daily continue to increase. Hospitals continue to watch and monitor the number of beds that they have and work on plans to make sure that they can address all the issues that are coming into their hospitals. There have been more than 2.9 million completed tests for about 1.9 million people across our state. We do continue to increase testing, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We can move over to the Ramsey County dashboard. Like the state, we also saw a record number of cases per day last week. You'll see a couple of high numbers there with 249 and 250 on October 26th and 27th. Those days blew away our last highest numbers from the weeks before. If we scroll further down, you'll see the cumulative case rates have gone up to 272 people per 10,000 residents in Ramsey County, and continues to go up for all metro counties. Our weekly case rate has moved to 15.5 cases per 10,000 residents, and as we scroll down, you'll see the positivity rate as of October 17th was 5.8%, and that rate continues to climb. Let's scroll down to the cumulative totals. We've had 15,005, it looks like my number is a little low, 15,860 confirmed cases in Ramsey County. That is more than 2,000 that we had in the last 2 weeks. That number continues to rise quickly. Unfortunately, we've lost an additional 33 people in the last couple of weeks, and we stand at 378 people that have been lost to COVID in Ramsey County. If we move down to the demographics, I do want to talk a bit about age. The Minnesota Department of Health plans to focus testing campaigns on 18 to 35-year-olds. These age groups are getting and spreading COVID-19 more quickly than any other age group, with 15 to 17-year-olds catching up quickly. It's important that these age groups get tested now. Upwards of 40% of this age demographic are asymptomatic and may have very few symptoms. It's important, though, to say that there are others in this group that have suffered significant symptoms. The issue is their ability to spread COVID to others, especially during this time of year when family celebrations are about to happen. We urge everyone to access testing. The good news about these age groups is that when they do test positive, they are doing a good job of isolating, and they're also doing a good job, if they've been exposed, of quarantining. So I would like to move over to the testing site where we can see where we can access testing right now throughout Ramsey County. We have one more Saturday testing event at Aldrich Arena scheduled for this Saturday, November 7th. We also have testing events scheduled in November and December at the Consulate of Mexico. You can visit our COVID testing site for information on time and watch for additional testing sites as we secure a building to provide COVID-19 tests during the winter months. Finally, the state of Minnesota also opened up a saliva testing site at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium, located at the St. Paul River Center. This is the first saliva testing location in the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. This site is free and open to anyone who thinks they should have a test. Whether or not you have symptoms or not, you can go there and get a saliva test. There is limited free parking on the roof of the St. Paul River Center for people to utilize. Testing is available 7 days a week from noon to 7 p.m. weekdays and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekends. Vault Health is the organization running the saliva testing events in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health and the State Emergency Operations Center. Vault runs the labs in nearby Oakdale, which means results turn around within 24 to 48 hours. There is no nose swabbing at these events. You simply provide a saliva specimen into a tube. Ramsey County Racial Equity and Community Engagement Response Team and our Public Health Community Liaisons, along with our testing branch, will continue to partner with Vault and the State Emergency Operations Center to ensure consistent messaging and partnership while they provide testing at this temporary site. The State Emergency Operations Center testing team does ask that you register for an appointment, but they will take walk-ins. It's a completely paperless site, so if you have a smartphone, bring it and start the check-in process while you stand in line. If you don't have a smartphone, they will have a device on site for you to use, and there will be staff there to assist you with any questions you may have. This is a big deal for the city of St. Paul, for Ramsey County. It's yet another way to increase access to testing that is open to everyone. You can go to www.ramseycounty.us/COVID and click on the testing sites link to find and register for an appointment. I will now turn it back over to County Manager O'Connor.
Thank you, Deputy County Manager Hadeen. I wanted to update the board on the continued conversation with mHealth Fairview and the Bethesda location. Last week we had a positive pre-application conference with the CAP board, the Capital Area Architectural Planning Board. We're going to go with that. I'm getting some head nods, so I think I got the acronym correct. I appreciate the opportunity to have met with their staff. It was a pre-application conference so that the permitting application could be submitted this week so that we can meet with the CAP board a week from this Friday, and so that can start the 30-day public comment period that would allow us to be completed by, I believe the date is December 13th. That's the current timeline under which we're working. They are scheduling their December meeting still with their CAP board members. We anticipate it will be on or immediately around December 13th. And we ask that if that not feel like it coming to fruition on that date, that they let us know so that we can have further conversation here. In the realm of community engagement, we had a community dialogue that a number of commissioners were a part of last week. Thanks to all the community members who tuned in and were a part of that conversation, and to all the staff that were a part of making it a success, showing up and being a part of that opportunity to listen and engage with the local neighborhood and the broader community. There is a weekly newsletter. You can sign up to receive it at ramseycounty.us/Bethesda. It goes out every Friday with all the information that we can share. As noted in last Friday's newsletter, there is now a phone number that has been set up as well for community feedback. That phone number is 651-266-8390. 651-266-8390. We commit to responding within 24 hours on business days to any messages left at that number. We have another community town hall scheduled on Monday, November 9th at 5 p.m. And we continue to encourage residents and interested parties to go to our website. That is the place where we're providing the most up-to-date information as we go. On the request for qualifications related to services at the site, we are hoping to release an RFQ by the end of the week. It's a little bit of a challenging week with other events going on, so we'll keep you posted as to the timing of that as it all comes to fruition. But things are moving along well there. And last Friday, Ramsey County representatives from the city of St. Paul and mHealth Fairview met to discuss clinical service offerings for Bethesda. There was a specific focus on mental health, chemical dependency, urgent chronic care, and dental health. And all of that conversation needs to correlate with the RFQ process for other community partnerships that we will need at the site. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that in the weeks ahead. Turning to the final topic I have around service delivery and our current structure and looking forward, the October service delivery form should be posted today or tomorrow now that we're at the end of the month. And we begin the November process. So this is the documentation we're doing monthly to continue to check in across the organization, see where we are and where we're going. Just a couple of key themes I wanted to highlight for you, and then one big announcement at the beginning of the form. Based on the public health information and the uncertainty employees are facing as they enter into the holiday season, concerns about more face-to-face service delivery interaction due to weather, and the continued closure of schools across much of Ramsey County, or limited open schools in many cases, we're announcing that our work in the current arrangement will continue to last until at least next spring, which we are defining as April 1st of 2021. Those dates are similar to organizations around us. They're not exactly the same. More important than a specific date is an acknowledgement that this is a point of fear and concern among employees, not being sure what is going to be the scenario as we hit January. It's important for us to help them continue to focus on their work in the meantime and recognize that in limited circumstances where we need to make changes, we've made those changes and we continue to be successful in our current operating environment. Along with the conversation about April of 2021 is a recognition that beginning in January, we'll be reaching out across this organization to talk about our future state of what our organization looks like as people do come back into work arrangements. Simply put, it will not look like it did in April of 2019 or in April of 2018. And we're excited to move into what the future looks like. That is not only related to the pandemic, but the idea that we can learn from the technology that has come on board. We can learn from the positive aspects of what we've learned while balancing that with the challenges that our current work arrangement has also brought to families. I look forward to talking with all of you more about that as we hit the end of the year and begin to move into next year. Final updates on the service design forms as you get a chance to look at them. I have asked the library to specifically provide an update to the board. I know that's been an area with questions in the past. There is some information here about their planning and the direction they're going, but you can expect within the next week to receive a specific update on library plans and express delivery and rollout, how that's coming along. And then I'll finally end on just the broadest part of the theme that comes out of this time's forms. When COVID-19 first came to Ramsey County in February or March, the theme of our work was very much around unknowns about a virus where there was very little known about how it was spread, where it was, how quickly it would spread, and it was fear of the unknown. It then became a conversation about the lack of protective equipment, PPE, and concerns about being able to do our work effectively without appropriate PPE, and concerns about our technological capacity. I think we've entered our third phase at this point. We're actually seeing a lot that technology has been implemented in many ways that has provided help to the organization, and PPE is readily available in ways that it was not at the beginning of the pandemic. There are still unknowns about the virus, but those are not the things that people wake up with as the first thought every day. Instead, the thing that you see the most when you read all the forms are concerns about service delivery and the gaps that develop over 9 months, where we continue to see that non-face-to-face interaction cannot be as successful. There are places like mental health and chemical dependency, child protection, adult protection, where there are no substitutes from the role that our staff play during face-to-face interactions. They have, in many of those cases, already been doing limited face-to-face work, but as we move into winter, there is a desire to continue to work with public health and ensure that in those areas we are doing all that we can to best serve this community. So we're going to continue to work on a case-by-case basis to think through the best ways to take that work on, but we are clearly now into a period of adjustment as we hit winter, and the largest fear right now is the concern of a flu season alongside COVID and what that could do to our staffing availability across our organization. We don't have all the answers, and I don't pretend to bring them today, but I wanted to highlight those areas as issues that we continue to work through together, and we will continue to surface that as we go in the coming weeks. With that, Madam Chair, Deputy County Manager Hadeen and I would stand for any questions or comments that you all may have. Thank you for the time.
And thank you again for the update. Commissioner Mattis Castillo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the really thorough update. I wondered if I could just ask Deputy County Manager Hadeen, if we've heard a lot of data, we get a lot of numbers. This has been going on for several months, and people have kind of become immune and numb in some aspects. And so I just wonder if you could share, what are the things that we are asking people to do in order to keep safe? I think that we've kind of relaxed in some ways and in some cases, especially in our younger population. And as information comes out about whether it can be on surfaces, whether it's tracked on our shoes, those kinds of things, you could just share what's the best way for us to keep ourselves and each other safe.
Madam Chair and Commissioner Mattis Castillo, thank you for the question. I think it's similar to a theme question that Commissioner Ortega was talking about the last time we spoke. The people are just, they're getting tired. It's the pandemic fatigue is real, and people just want their lives to go back to normal. But I don't know that we'll see that normal for a while, and so we need to continue to mask. You see that we're wearing our masks today, even when we're talking with case rates so high, and even when you're trying to space out and but you're in community, there's still risk. So making sure that we are continuing to social distance, that you know who your bubble is and who is in your family and who you've been around, but outside of that, continuing to take special care to be distanced from people. The masks are such a big thing. There's a lot of great information and a lot of great articles that you can look at and watch, even videos of how droplets are spread and how much a mask can help when you're indoors and around people and keep that from spreading to others. So, our community liaisons and the racial equity and community engagement response team especially has been doing such a great job with the Mask for All. They'll continue to provide masks to community through events with partnering during our testing events and making sure that people have access to masks. It's the biggest piece right now, is making sure that you can keep your distance and keep a mask on. It's the biggest thing that people can do. As well as if you've been around somebody who has COVID, isolate, quarantine, stay home. If you yourself are not feeling well, make sure to go get a test. We now have enough tests in our community. We have the saliva testing site. We have the public health testing sites that people can go and get one. You still can make an appointment or you can show up. We have enough to help people right now. So getting tested, wearing a mask, staying distance, and when you're not feeling well, stay home. Those are the biggest pieces.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McGuire?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate all of the reports, and thanks for that reminder, Deputy County Manager Hadeen. I have a question about the saliva testing that's going on at the Roy Wilkins. Is it possible that people can do a drive up if they have a person that has mobility issues? Can they drive up and have that done, or is that not a possibility? And if we're the only place in the cities, I expect if we don't do it, then there's no place where people with mobility issues can get saliva tested.
Madam Chair and Commissioner McGuire, that's a great question, and I would love to get back to you with an answer that is yes. I would need to check in with Vault Health. What I know about Vault Health is that they are very accommodating and that they are partners in this and that they want to be able to work with our community to make sure that their tests are accessible. The Roy Wilkins site is a temporary site. There is work being done with the Sears site that does offer drive-up capability, and so as that site gets up and running and it becomes the semi-permanent saliva testing site, that option will be available. For now, I will respond back to you and the commissioners with the answer, but I am hopeful, knowing Vault and how accommodating that they will be able to help with that.
I really appreciate that on behalf of the board, but thanks to Vault and to you for that flexibility. Appreciate that, because I've been getting that question from people. So thank you so much for that and for all your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have other hands up. I would just repeat to thank you very much for the complete update that you have provided, for all of the work that is going on for testing and for continuing awareness. As you have said, this is not going away. As soon as when it arrived, we had thought or hoped, and we are learning more and more beyond the fear and beyond the shock of the start of this, how to endure through it, how to keep ourselves, each other, and our communities safe, and in fact, how to care through masking and through all of the appropriate ways of social distancing and staying at home, taking care of ourselves. So thank you so very much for keeping this in front of us weekly, for the information on our site as well, and for all of the special work that is going on as we conduct all of our work as well in our response to COVID. Looking back, there are no further questions. I will turn back to County Manager and Deputy County Manager Hedin for any further or last comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would only add one last piece, which is we continue to learn a lot about ventilation. And I don't even just mean HVAC systems, although we continue to do a lot of work with public health and property management in that space. The simple act of opening a window matters. And many of our buildings, interestingly enough, in Ramsey County, particularly in St. Paul, were built during a time when that was a part of the plan more than 100 years ago. And you can read a lot about that. There's visualizations. But part of our work is going to be to think about opening windows this winter in different ways to create airflow through rooms. And what's old is becoming new again. So just to the advice that we're working on, if there's someone in a room with you, I mean, this is not a public health director saying this is a lay person, but if you're in a room with other people who you don't spend a lot of time with, but you need to be in close proximity and you have access to open a window, open the window and put on a layer if you need to and wear a mask. It's better than just wearing a mask. And together we'll figure out our way through. That's all we have today, Madam Chair. Thank you for all the time.
Thank you very much. And so we're at the point in our agenda when we have our administrative items. Commissioner Matis Castillo.
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to move item number 5, the de-license of beds at the Ramsey County Care Center. Item number 6, acceptance of the 2020 Joint Property Tax Advisory Committee action. Item number 7, Public Works Construction Quarterly Report for July 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. And item number 8, the August 2020 report of contracts, grant and revenue agreements, emergency purchases, sole source, single source purchases, and final payments.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and for the second. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Matis Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. And thank you very much. The administrative agenda, all items have passed. And we're moving on to county connections. For that, I'll go back to County Manager O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will just briefly mention elections today as the other big issue going on, elections administration alongside COVID. And there are spots on a Venn diagram where these intersect with one another. And so as an organization, we've planned and thought about our work in that way. First, today's message to the organization from the county manager is focused on the topic of both the service design forms, but also elections. And it's a reminder that it's a stressful time for everyone. There are a lot of people across the country and locally who have very strong feelings about today's election on many different levels and for many different reasons. And it was a reminder to everyone that Ramsey County has been here for more than 170 years. We're going to be here tomorrow and the day after. And as an organization, we will do our best to demonstrate that government is here, even in times of uncertainty and challenge around us. Specifically, as we speak to elections, we've implemented a dual incident management structure right now. There was an email that went to all of you yesterday to clarify that. In that structure, COVID will continue to be managed through the incident management team that has been in place. So for the county board, working through the policy and partnerships liaison, who is Karen Saltis today, is your best way to get immediate information. On the other side, for elections, we have our election staff on the ground doing the work. Deputy County Manager Karen Francois and I would be great first points of contact should things come up. We have media contacts, as well as we are integrated with our emergency management and homeland security, receiving updates as we go forward to ensure that everyone continues to do their work well. If someone is wondering how things are going, what I would say is going into today, after a record day of voting yesterday at our various sites, what we know is that all of our votes going into yesterday had been appropriately processed, or pre-processed, I could say, so that we were ready for yesterday. And as of today, we'll pre-process the votes that came through, and then we'll add that to the votes that come tonight. We are well positioned in Ramsey County for an accurate and fair and transparent count, just like any other year. The votes came in a little differently, but there is nothing different about the way in which we should be able to ultimately provide that information. As we've said many times before, Ramsey County does not transmit its election results over a networked system. That is good in that it prevents the idea of being able to have an incursion into the system at the moment when the information is transferred back and forth. However, it does mean that you have to take a little longer to physically upload the results on site as a part of that process. And so, like other years, Ramsey County is not racing to be the first organization out of the gate reporting all its results. Instead, what we're doing is making sure we report them right, and they'll come up later tonight as we go. We believe we're prepared for whatever may come our way. I'd be happy to answer any final questions you have about the election. I want to thank the thousands of people who are working on behalf of this organization as election judges and staff to ensure a successful day, not only today, but in whatever may follow in the days ahead. It takes a huge number of people to pull off a successful election day. And I know you all know that from having seen that operation for many years here before. So thank you. And with that, Madam Chair, my update is concluded.
Thank you very much. I have no questions for the board here. I'm looking to see, and we'll give you an opportunity, if any. We do want to thank you very, very much for all that is going on to guide and to guard this day for us on behalf of our elections and our safety and our future. So thank you very much. I'm going to go then to our Board of Commissioners for updates on outside board and committees. I will start that with Commissioner McDonough, and we'll go alphabetically down the alphabet, back up, ending with Commissioner Matas-Castillo.
Madam Chair, no report today from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up on the county managers talk about elections, I know all of us have experienced that in the last, if not today, the last few weeks. Just a shout out to our election staff who've done an amazing job at handling the lines of people that are early voting and just bringing in their ballots. I experienced it. They were professional. They were safe, sanitary. Everything was done amazingly well, and I'm just so proud of them all. So big shout out to all of our election staff at all of our locations. Madam Chair, I'm just going to give a slight legislative, it's actually a legislative, what's coming up with our legislative work, that our workshop, we're having a workshop next week, which will be our first look at our state and federal platform. And they've been working with our staff and outside partners to come up with a plan that we're going to get to look at, that we're going to help draft. So they're not going to bring us their plan. We're going to work on it next week. So we'll be able to do that next week. Also, just to let you know, I attended some of these sessions of Revolution. So my first big experience with a nationwide virtual conference. And I must say that the keynote speakers were really good. And, they talked about building livable communities with transit, sustainability. I mean, all the things that we really care about, the biking and walking. And it was just a few good sessions that I was able to attend. Also, the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District met virtually, of course, and they had less mosquitoes this year due to the weather, which was really good. Now, of course, with the cold, we don't have them. But I just want to give a shout out to their tire program, their tire recycling program, that they will come and pick up tires if you have one that you need, and then they recycle them. They send them to a place that makes them into other things. So just want to thank them for that. And they also have 20-minute videos for school age children to learn about mosquito control. So if you're looking for an activity, go to the Minnesota Mosquito, or the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District website, and they have 20-minute videos for kids. So just thank them and everyone for all their creativity during this time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner McGuire. And Commissioner Ortega.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say kudos to the staff, to the election staff. Last week I spent an hour at the Plato site just observing, and I got to tell you, the cross section of the workers reflect our community. Number one, they were knowledgeable. Number two, they were very courteous with all issues that might have come up. I was thoroughly impressed, and I think it speaks well of the work that was done in terms of recruiting and training. So many folks, and many of those workers told me that they never thought about being an election judge or working. They just came in, they voted, they never realized what it took, everything that was that all the pieces to an election. It was very impressive. I think that speaks volume for the good work that our folks have done in that department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ortega. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Okay, thank you. I just also want to do a huge shout out to our election staff. And I know that everyone involved is really just making sure that everybody every eligible ballot that is submitted will be counted. And the work that's been done there has been absolutely amazing. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And I don't have any other updates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Fredham.
Sensing a theme with today, I have no big updates, but also wanted to mention that a friend was at the early voting location at the Ramsey County Library in Roseville last night and said there was a line well after the polls closed. People were in great spirits, and the poll workers there were friendly and supportive, and just very grateful for everyone's efforts to ensure that we have a fair and safe election process where every vote counts. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Manis-Castillo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. A couple quick updates. We have a virtual town hall meeting, or open house, coming up on November 18th about the Rice Street redesign. So this is kind of the opportunity with community to take a look at what has been proposed, what has been suggested, and so an open house. So it is November 18th. It's a Wednesday evening from 6 to 8. It will be online. And again, you should go to our ramseycounty.us/Rice Street study to sign up for that event. So just want to put that notice out now early. Also, wanted to say a deep gratitude to elections. Obviously, this is a really big day. It's the Super Bowl for them. They have trained hard. They have worked hard. They've planned and prepared, as well as our incident management staff. And I have the utmost confidence, as the county manager shared, in our system to have safe, secure, and equitable elections today. And so thank you. If you're out and about, thank our poll workers, thank those volunteers, and thank you to our staff. We are very proud of you and all your work. One other little note around elections. I got a note from a school teacher suggesting that we should monitor our kids' social media today. So even though we're all thinking about elections, there's a lot of misinformation going out and some really scary information going out to our kids. And so they are on social media and Instagram, and there's some pretty scary posts coming out about the outcome or potential outcome of the election. They, of course, are rumors, but kids' anxiety are really high, just like many adults. And so I just want to say it out loud for parents and people. We talked about childcare providers and foster care providers today about how we take care of our kids. And so even today on election day, especially today, I just want to encourage everyone to keep an eye on kids' social media accounts and the news. And as we think about our anxieties about the outcome or what may or may not happen, depending on the outcome, it's just that we really are all in this together, and that everything's going to be okay. And we have all the things in place to take care of any incidents that may arise. Of course, we hope nothing does, but we are well prepared, and that we're going to be safe and secure here in Ramsey County, and to just make sure we're thinking about the kiddos too as we go through this day. And then last thing, we have a couple colleagues who are on the ballot this year, and they had short reports because they're exhausted, no doubt. And so I just want to say, I wish you all the very best. I'm very optimistic that we will continue to be able to serve with you. But my support goes out to you too this year, because I know those anxieties are high and the adrenaline is going, and I hope tomorrow you get to rest. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for your thoughtfulness also in those last comments. I will simply share that I have been keeping track on a special team of Association of Minnesota Counties Human Services and Education participants, along with the Department of Human Services, with the early conversation, recruiting the input of counties as the budget for the next biennium is created. We had a second conversation with DHS last week. It did go well. As you might imagine, it's a little tense and a little difficult to step into that space where we know that during coming years, DHS will likely bear the burden of cuts. And to ask counties where those cuts should be is a very, very difficult question to respond to. Yet there are principles that we are sharing along with the commissioner and staff with respect to counties' needs to not see shifts without consultation. It would burden our ability to deliver services as we have prepared within our budgets, that mandates be addressed should they come without funding, that we are ensured that we are in a conversation about what those would be, that clearly the waivers that we have requested to be continued are considered as a part of enabling us to do our work with flexibility, and that systems change initiatives that may be considered during a time of sacrifice, such as is the case, be considered with the participation of counties at the table. We've not yet talked about what that participation looks like, but please know that we are in ongoing conversation about the very real prospect of design changes, which, if made, should be those changes that allow us to do better work, albeit that can create savings as well or prevent tails down the road. So that is an ongoing conversation. I want to comment on the well-facilitated town hall that was run last week to recruit community participation and input regarding Bethesda and on what appears to be an instrument that is becoming well practiced and facilitated in engaging with our community. And certainly we are needing more and more to have well facilitated discussions that allow the community's participation. So just thank you so much and kudos to staff for the work that they are doing in that regard. And once again, to share that our elections staff has prepared and is running an election that will make us proud as every other year. And this year, with such momentous work going on, we are so thankful for their diligence and for their talents and skills, their knowledge, and their ability to provide a safe, thorough, um, election for us. Certainly, those who are there are observant, they are keeping people safe, they are courteous, as has been mentioned. Uh, our ongoing staff and those who have come to join us during the elections. And a final thank you to our community who is responding to this responsibility that we have of civic engagement to make the choices of how we shall be governed. So thank you to the community for coming out. The lines are around corners and people are patient and waiting together and being courteous with each other. And we so greatly appreciate that, as that is what is needed during this time. So congratulations or best wishes to all who are on the ballot, including our colleagues here. And we look forward to understanding once every vote is counted, the outcome of this election. So I believe that that is the business that we have. I'm going to just check to see there is no hand raised, and I am thankful that we will have completed the business that we have during this board meeting. But we also have a workshop which is coming up, and I'll ask that we get back on the line at 10:15 for the county board workshop, Ramsey County Transit Portfolio Status and Financial Projection. It will be a virtual meeting. We do have a separate link for that meeting, and it will be convened by Commissioner Reinhardt. Let's give ourselves until 10:17 to be back on the link for the workshop. So with that, I want to thank you all. We'll see you at 10:17. Our meeting is adjourned.